Elias Mercer did not wake up screaming. That was the first thing that disturbed him. Most subjects who experienced extended exposure to the dream reported panic after waking, elevated heart rate, paranoia, disorientation, but Elias woke up completely still beneath the pale laboratory lights, staring silently at the ceiling, while the feeling of the station remained somewhere deep inside him. It did not feel like waking up from a dream. It felt like being removed from a place he was not supposed to leave yet. The difference mattered. Around him, the laboratory was unusually quiet. Several monitors still displayed frozen neural activity graphs from the experiment, and one of them continued flashing the same phrase repeatedly across the screen. Phase 1, incomplete. Elias slowly sat up, his hands trembling slightly, not from fear but from certainty. Because for the first time since the dreams began, he understood something important. The station was not random. It was evaluating people. He remembered the door opening only slightly, just enough for him to glimpse what existed beyond it, before the system forced him back. There had been another platform behind the door, brighter than the first station, cleaner, almost peaceful. The lights there did not flicker. People moved calmly through the platform without confusion or fear, as if they belonged there. And somewhere among them, for a single, impossible second, Elias thought he recognized someone before the dream violently collapsed around him. He still remembered the voice echoing through the station before he woke up. No longer calm, no longer distant. Subject attachment levels exceed threshold. Then another sentence. Return initiated. And suddenly, the platform disappeared beneath him. The memory replayed in his head all morning while he reviewed the experiment logs. According to the system timestamps, he had only been asleep for 19 minutes, but inside the station he had spent what felt like hours walking through corridors, observing patterns, listening to the announcements, and studying the impossible architecture of the place. The more he thought about it, the more one realization became unavoidable. The phases were not physical locations. They were psychological filters. The station was measuring attachment, not intelligence, not morality, not memory. Attachment to life itself. That realization unsettled him more than anything else so far, because he already knew why the system rejected him from the second phase. The moment the door opened, he thought about her, Mira Laurent. Even after 4 years, the name still carried weight inside him, like something unfinished. They met during university while studying neural cognition and computational consciousness theory. Long nights in empty lecture halls slowly became years together. Mira always believed consciousness was not fixed to biology. She used to argue that the human mind was simply a pattern, and patterns could migrate if the correct system existed to receive them. Elias used to laugh at those theories back then. Now he could still hear her voice saying those exact words inside his memory. Their relationship did not end dramatically. No betrayal, no final fight. Life simply wore it down slowly through exhaustion, ambition, and distance, until one day they stopped calling each other entirely. But Elias never truly moved on. Every relationship afterward failed because every connection eventually became a comparison, and every comparison lost to someone who no longer existed in his life. And somehow, the station had known that instantly. attachment threshold exceeded. Over the next several days, the reports became stranger. The dream was evolving. People who advanced further inside the station no longer described fear after waking up. Instead, they described detachment. A businessman in London abandoned his company overnight and disappeared without explanation. A woman in Prague calmly left her husband and children behind after claiming she had seen the next platform. A student in Tokyo erased every photograph of himself from the internet before voluntarily entering a sleep study program and never waking up again. The pattern disturbed Elias deeply because all of them described the same emotional change. They no longer feared losing the world they came from, as if the station was preparing them to let go. Meanwhile, governments across the world became increasingly unstable. Entire research divisions disappeared from public records. Airports operated under military supervision in multiple countries. Scientific conferences were abruptly cancelled. Social networks flooded with conspiracy theories, claiming governments already knew what the dreams truly were. Some believed the station was a weapon designed to psychologically weaken humanity before some larger event. Others believed it was an experiment created by artificial intelligence. Elias himself became convinced there was coordination happening behind the scenes because too many institutions were reacting with the same silent panic. Then he searched for Mira again. At first, everything appeared normal. Academic publications, conference footage, neural interface research. But the deeper he looked, the stranger it became. Mira had disappeared from public life almost 3 months earlier. No recent lectures, no interviews, no online activity. It was as if she had quietly stepped out of reality itself. Elias called her repeatedly. No answer. He sent messages, emails, voicemails. Nothing returned. And for the first time since the dreams began, he felt genuine fear. Not fear of the station. Fear that Mira already understood it better than anyone else. That night, Elias fell asleep unintentionally on the couch in his apartment, and the station returned immediately. But this time, everything was different. The lights no longer flickered. The air no longer felt abandoned. The distant train sounds had stopped completely. Instead, there were footsteps somewhere deeper in the station, calm and unhurried, like people moving through an airport terminal late at night. The door was already open, only slightly, but enough for white light to spill across the dark platform floor. The voice echoed softly through the station. Phase 1 candidates continue evaluation. Elias slowly approached the opening. Then he heard something impossible on the other side. Laughter. Human laughter. Warm, real, alive. For a brief moment, he forgot where he was because he recognized the voice immediately. Mira. He moved toward the doorway instantly. Mira. The station reacted violently. The lights dimmed. Metallic warning alarms echoed through the tunnels. Somewhere beneath the platform, something enormous shifted in the darkness. Then the voice returned. Emotional anchor detected. The white light behind the doorway flickered violently, and for one brief second, Elias saw her standing on the opposite platform beyond the second phase. She wore the same dark coat she used to wear during winter at university. She looked calm, not trapped, not afraid, almost peaceful. And then she smiled at him. not with sadness, with understanding, as if she already knew something he did not. The station began collapsing around him instantly. The walls distorted violently like corrupted video frames. The platform shook beneath his feet. Lights exploded overhead, one after another, while the voice spoke one final sentence before the dream tore itself apart. Subject Mira Laurent successfully transitioned to Phase 2. Elias woke up gasping on the floor of his apartment. His television screen was filled with static, though he did not remember turning it on. Slowly, through the white noise, text began appearing across the screen, one line at a time. Phase 2, active. Then, attachments must be released. And finally, she is waiting beyond the door. The screen went black. A few seconds later, somewhere far below the city, beneath layers of concrete and steel, Elias heard the sound of a train moving slowly through the darkness.